players can sprint in any direction and move like a true Black Ops action hero with an entirely new global system we call Omni. Options, and I'm running out of bullets. Get ready!
Wait a minute. I can sprint backwards now? Happy holidays, everyone. It may not be Halloween season anymore, but what's more scary, a Call of Duty lobby?
Yum, 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 I eat dick all day. Yum, yum, yum.
Or spending the holidays with your family? Personally, I hear more racial slurs and insulting things from my family, but that's not what this video is about.
You know, Con, we may deny our kids completely different desserts, but they both go to bed hungry. And that's what really matters.
Anyways, let's talk about this year's Call of Duty. And no, I likely won't be talking about each game every year. I'm only doing this because Game Pass makes this trash seem a little bit cheaper. This video is also going to be organized a bit differently than my other videos because there are elements of this game that have changed a lot, and others that have changed so little I don't think it's worth talking about. But if you really care about some of those details, I'll speed through them real quick. Graphics are nice, sound quality is great, and gameplay is your standard affair, but I will get a little bit more into that. Finally, I'm not going to cover the Battle Royale mode Warzone, mostly because I don't want to download it, and if you don't know what that is, then you probably don't care just like me. I'm going to start with the most boring part of the game to talk about. The multiplayer.
What? The multiplayer is the only part of the game that I play, MrManDude.
I know. There are way too many people that only play Team Deathmatch and literally nothing else. However, what if I told you that the game hasn't changed since 2018? Don't believe me? Okay then. Name the major innovations that have fundamentally changed the gameplay from a standard COD match over the years. Go on, I'll wait.
Hellstorm is marked at 5.
If the only one you can think of from Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops Cold War is the movement, then you are correct. So what changed? Well, it changed from people moving around the maps like they were on crack cocaine to now people move like they are on crack cocaine and took a bunch of steroids and mixed it with their G Fuel mix they put in their espresso shots. Okay, that might have been a bit of an exaggeration, but they are clearly moving a lot faster. I thought that maybe I had just lost my skill over the years, but then I re-downloaded some of the older COD games and even Modern Warfare 2 just to get footage and noticed just how much slower these games were. Not to say that they were slow, no, in fact I think the pacing is more consistent. Take a look at the differences here.
Reloading.
With you till the end.
Enemy sniper here. Disregard that. Mark the target.
Tag
One
secure.
down.
Kill confirmed.
Got movement.
Classify the AO trophy.
Even in Modern Warfare 2, which came out only 2 years ago, the maps, movement, and flow all complement each other. However, with Black Ops 6, people move super fast, on small maps, with a time to kill that is so quick, and it just falls apart. Sometimes you get into a firefight with 4 people, and it's so fast that it ends in less than 5 seconds. That is if you don't die immediately yourself. And other times both teams move so fast that they run past each other and get to the other side of the map before anyone kills each other. This happens at the start of matches so frequently that it's comical. The older Call of Duty games had a better flow to them in my opinion because they understood that you can have a quick time to kill as long as the player's speed wasn't too fast. Think back in the days of classic arena shooters. They had longer times to kill, but you move at sonic speeds, meaning that you have to be more consistent with your aim and dodges in order to succeed. Black Ops 6 gives players a fast time to kill with faster movement, and it just doesn't work for me. Maybe some people like it, but I can point to numerous examples of games that have insane movement, but adding just a bit longer time to kill makes the flow work so much better. So yeah, the movement sucks in my opinion, and completely breaks the flow. I do like the maps, guns, kill streaks, and modes. There certainly is a great variety. However, aside from the movement speed, nothing really feels like it has changed. The biggest innovation they boasted about in trailers was the Omni movement system, which allows players to sprint in any direction.
Movement has been a consistent area of focus and innovation for Call of Duty, and with Black Ops 6, we're redefining movement across the entire game. For the first time ever, players can sprint in any direction and move like a true Black Ops action hero, with an entirely new global system we call Omni Movement.
Whoop-de-doo. For how fast this game is and the fact that there are 2 modes of sprinting, change a setting that enables auto sprint and save yourself the headache of hitting the sprint button twice every time you want to move in-game. Otherwise, just about every facet of the multiplayer looks, plays, and feels about the same as it did since 2018. Customization, unlocks, and all. I don't know, maybe I'm just not into games like this anymore. I wouldn't bother too much with the campaign either, since they are usually only good to laugh at for how predictable and memeable they have gotten over the years. But you did play a song from my favorite band from the 90s, so maybe I'll stick around for a little while. The campaign is interesting to me because I wasn't expecting this level of quality. Being a Black Ops agent who has now gone rogue in order to discover the rise of a mysterious faction known as the Pantheon, it means you'll often take part in more spy action over regular Call of Duty action. I found these sections of the game to be the most interesting. Using a blacklight to discover hidden details, using a spy camera to tag enemies, sneaking around, and that's not even everything. They added a good amount of enemy variety here, with armored units and guys who use RC cars. It's not a ton, but it's a much needed addition to these games that should have been done back in 2014 if you ask me. In many missions, stealth is an option you can choose, or you can go guns blazing. Oh, and by the way, the movement here is significantly slower. Look. So they made the movement feel more meaningful in the campaign, but not the... whatever. There are dialogue choices and multiple ways to tackle certain objectives. They even give you a backpack that lets you carry every type of grenade and tactical known to man. Though, admittedly, once you find the exploding throwing knives, it's all over. I would be lying if I said it was all positive, however. Sure, I did have way more fun than I was expecting, but while the levels are still open, they beat you over the head with what you're supposed to do. The dialogue choices are ultimately meaningless, the blacklight puzzles and the hacking games are so mindless that they become tedious, and despite being able to find money to upgrade yourself and your equipment at the safe house, you can completely ignore that part of the campaign unless you're playing on the hardest difficulty. And mild spoiler warnings for those that care, we get some weird missions towards the end. One in particular stands out to me because you get infected with a viral bioweapon, and you start hallucinating zombies and get a grappling hook. I know the devs probably aren't listening to this, but on the off chance that they do, this level was a huge highlight. It got me excited. Like, what if we got a whole game where the bioweapon the terrorists use is a zombie virus? So we would play as specialized operatives, shooting bad guys and trying to stop them from unleashing the zombies more. It's basically the plot of Dead Rising, but we could have some real creativity here. There could be even more enemy variety, location variety, an interesting story with real stakes, and maybe instead of an RC car with a bomb, maybe we could have a kill streak with a small zombie or something. It's aggravating how close we have gotten to something special here, but COD just can't commit. Or maybe it's due to a lack of time allotted to the developers. I still liked the game, and the time I spent playing the campaign, but the lack of replayability is immediately apparent. One thing I do have to give credit to is the way they paced out the more linear missions and the open world missions. This is what I hoped for when Halo Infinite announced that they would have an open world campaign. You can optionally spend time doing side objectives for kill streaks and other gear, and take on the objectives in a more Far Cry sort of way. Plus, after you get the cool gear, they throw you into an awesome mission where you get to keep all of it. This was also a pretty huge highlight for me. It shows that when you have the more slow-paced, maybe quieter moments, it makes the big moments seem much larger and awesome. I remember Modern Warfare 2016 played with the same idea when they had the clean house missions as well, and they had a very similar effect. Otherwise, in terms of story, you can probably guess all the twists and turns it's going to take. You'll likely be able to guess who the bad guy is before the third mission, and then it's just your standard Call of Duty kill the bad guys affair. However, I will give credit to the character building because they do a pretty good job. Listening to the characters' conversations at the safe house was pretty entertaining, and I grew to like and fear for them. Unfortunately, because everything has to be connected to Warzone, somehow it means we get a slightly unfinished story and no one is allowed to die, because we always have to feature them as new operatives in Warzone. It doesn't make sense, and I hope they stop doing it. Warzone is a game mode, not the central place for all your storytelling and gameplay innovations. But whatever, I guess. Different year, same corporate mentality. Finally, we can talk about the most interesting part of the game in my opinion. The zombies. For a while, it seemed like the franchise was spinning its wheels a bit with what to do for the zombies mode. Some attempts to innovate with the mode were great and made some great changes for adding features that are now considered must-haves. And other features were so bad that people lobotomized themselves in order to forget about them. I'm happy to say that the zombies mode this year is pretty good. I'm not sure I would say it's the best, there's definitely room for improvement, but I'm happy to say that I have easily put the most amount of time into this mode. The basic structure is restored with wave-based zombies, perks, pack-a-punch, and all the secrets and interesting gimmicks from a zombies map that you could hope to have, but it also changes things around a bit to keep it fresh. As for other new functions, I haven't played a Call of Duty Zombies game since Black Ops 3, and so a lot has changed for me. The first thing I noticed was some new perks. One that makes you immune to explosions while creating them upon belly flopping, another that turns your punch into an instant kill, and another that randomly changes the bullet mods that your gun fires. They're not bad additions, and now you can carry a lot of them at the same time. Guns now have different rarities which determine what attachments a gun has and adds damage to it, which is okay. You can even decide to start with whatever gun you want in the beginning, rather than start with a 9mm pistol all the time. Gobblegums return with some new variants, and they also added kill streaks with this version. And at first I thought they didn't really belong or work, and I don't think they are as fun as the crafting items back from Black Ops 2, but they are a nice little innovation. And of course, you can finally vault over small obstacles. You can actually get a really surprising amount of verticality in some areas too. To start with the things I like, the cross XP for weapons, skins, and letting you use kill streaks is a very welcome addition that I didn't think I'd like. The maps, variety of zombie models, and gobblegums are also not bad additions. Gobblegums can seem ridiculously powerful at times, but my friends and I managed to complete the Easter egg endings without using any of them, so they aren't necessary, which is good. I have to mention that the maps are pretty good this time around too. They aren't the craziest maps I've ever seen, nowhere near as interesting as some of the past maps we've had, but they are fun to play with plenty of Easter eggs to find and endgame challenges for those who want to attempt them. Though, admittedly, I think these might be the easiest zombie maps I've ever played. Part of it is the fact that you are faster than ever before, part of it is that it's a lot harder to get cornered, part of it is that you can take more damage than before, and finally, these maps are just huge. In the past, sometimes there might be one or two places that were more open for you to train the zombies and not worry too much about getting cut off in tight corridors, but in these maps, it's more rare to find a place that is tight rather than open. I'm not going to complain too much, but if I can easily make it to round 30 on my own, especially without being the best zombie player, then maybe add less places for the player to run. I'm not really a fan of the armor system they have and how you have to craft or pick it up in order to replenish it, especially since it seems sometimes that a 3-plate might let you take more damage than Juggernaut. Otherwise, I don't really have too much to complain about. Solving the Easter eggs was really fun, and there are a lot of them to find, with some really sick boss battles I might add. There is room for improvement, like I said, but I'm excited to see the new maps they add over the next year, and I'll probably keep playing for that reason alone.
I had expected you to be rocking back and forth in a fetal position by now.
So, should you buy this year's Call of Duty? Maybe. If you're into these games for the multiplayer, then I might stay away from this one, but if you like zombies and the campaign, then I might consider if the game ever goes on a fair sale. If you like the fast-paced gameplay along with all the other stuff, then sure, this wouldn't be a bad game to get. It is free through Game Pass, so maybe just try it through there. Otherwise, that's all I got for you today. Like the video and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and leave a comment with what you want to see next. I have some plans for the new year, but I'll put a video out for that closer to that day. Anyways, spread love, not hate, and try not to slip on any ice. See you next time.